Welcome, Earthlings, to YouTube Sci-Fi Week. I am your host, Jason Lon Morcos, here to take you on a voyage through time to the golden age of sci-fi. Born from the ashes of the pre-atomic world, this genre revolutionized American culture, influencing an entire generation of teenagers who would grow up to be the military, political, and industrial leaders of America. Before you can understand the golden age of sci-fi and its impact on culture, you must know precisely what this movement was all about. Let's go to Kelsey Lon Doty, America's foremost literary expert on the Golden Age. Welcome to the program, Kelsey.
Happy to be here.
So, Kelsey, tell me, what exactly was the Golden Age of sci-fi all about?
Well, Jason, the Golden Age of science fiction refers to the time period of 1945 to 1970, during which science fiction took off as a popular genre. Pulp magazines, such as Astounding Science Fiction by John W. Campbell, published hundreds of short stories to a primarily male audience.
So, Kelsey, what exactly characterizes this literary movement?
Well, Jason, the Golden Age is known for its linear narratives, focus on human nature, futuristic setting, and increased emphasis on cultural elements. Stories often explored political and religious themes. The impending atomic age, for instance, heavily influenced the genre, in that stories written before the atomic bomb devastated Hiroshima featured technological optimism, whereas later stories reflected an attitude of apprehension concerning scientific developments. The Golden Age of sci-fi gave the science fiction genre literary merit for the first time in the history of this universe.
Thank you for being on the program, Kelsey.
Thanks for having me.
I am now joined by Professor of Literature, Sarah Lon Stevens. Welcome to the program, Sarah.
It's my pleasure.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about some of these sci-fi authors?
Well, Jason, there were many different writers that emerged during science fiction's golden age. Most of the authors had very different and unique styles, but they were all able to capture the main aspects of the genre.
So, who are some of the most well-known authors of this movement?
Well, Frank Herbert is an important one. He is best known for his short stories in his Dune series. Herbert uses his novels to explore more complex societal issues, such as religion, politics, philosophy, and psychology. Another important author of the time is Ray Bradbury.
What about Robert Heinlein? Wasn't he a pretty important author too?
Yes, Heinlein was one of the main authors during the movement. Robert Heinlein, a man sometimes known as the Dean of Science Fiction Writers, was one of the most influential and important authors of the time and helped to raise the literary standards of science fiction and popularize the genre. Known for his short stories and nonconformist ideals, Heinlein remained a best-selling author for decades. Isaac Asimov is another author who cannot be left out. Asimov tended to explore science fiction through history and was a master of hard sci-fi. He uses a clear writing style in order to get his points across. Asimov also created the 3 laws of robotics.
So, are those all of the great writers of the Golden Age?
Of course not. There are many more writers from the time period. Oh, but I definitely don't want to leave out Kurt Vonnegut. Vonnegutt's work is characterized by cynicism, gallows humor, wild and unpredictable imaginative leaps that is all tempered by distinct humanism.
Thank you for your time, Professor.
The pleasure was all mine.
I am now joined by another expert historian, Michael Lon Faulkner. Welcome to the program, Michael.
Thanks for having me.
So, can you tell me about a couple non-literary examples of this science fiction era?
Of course. Man has always been fascinated with space and technology. The influence of science fiction has not been limited to literature. Movies and television have also had a huge impact on the movement. Shows like Star Trek, the original series, and The Twilight Zone have influenced the minds of thousands. Both of these popular TV shows use science fiction scenarios to explore societal issues and human nature. Movies and shows filled with exploration of space and futuristic starships filled viewers with an awe for the limitless possibilities of science and technology. Iconic heroes such as James Tiberius Kirk of the USS Enterprise became role models for boys and girls of generations to come. The Golden Age of sci-fi was obsessed with the exploration of space and humanity as man set sail for the final frontier. Shows like these exemplify the Golden Age because they capture the fears of the atomic age, the Cold War, and their use of advanced space technology as plot devices to explore complex issues.
Thanks for that great background, Michael. I'm a pretty big Trekkie myself.
Yeah, Kirk is pretty great. Thanks for having me.
We've learned a lot about the Golden Age of sci-fi so far, but now let's hear a little bit more about the influences of this movement from historian Jessica Lon Liu. Welcome to the program, Jessica.
Glad to be here.
So, tell me a little bit more about the cultural context surrounding the sci-fi movement.
Of course, the golden age of sci-fi was heavily influenced by events that transpired during the end of World War II and the Cold War. The horrors of World War II made many writers disillusioned and pessimistic, and this was reflected in their writing. After the war, science fiction became much more political, with writers using the fantastic settings and situations to explore complex societal issues. After witnessing the downsides of militarism during the war, writers shied away from the blind militaristic tendencies of the pulp era.
How did the aftermath of the war affect the movement?
Well, the Cold War and the Red Scare both had a big impact on the mindset of the Golden Age writers. The libertarian ideology that ran through many of the works of the Golden Age can be attributed to the writers' rejection of communism and the government policies that suppress civil liberties. The Golden Age incorporation of religious themes can also be interpreted as a reaction against the atheistic nature of communism.
Thank you for your time, Jessica.
It was a pleasure. I'll see you again sometime.
So get ready for a week of starships and Clone Wars, because this is YouTube Sci-Fi Week.